What's going on, Iron Nation Garage supporters and YouTube? Today, I'm excited. We are going to be taking out a Kohler Command 23 horsepower engine out of a John Deere L130. I've got a buyer on the engine, so I have some time on this. The last engine I took out, it was literally about a 30 to 40-minute turnaround when the people came, saw the engine, wanted to hear it run, liked it, went out, got a coffee, and I had the engine out in about 35 minutes. This one, I got a little bit more time, and I can take you guys through the steps on this engine. So we'll go step by step through the engine. I'll show you guys everything you have to disconnect on what needs to be unhooked and the way I do it and the way that works for me. And typically these engines are out between 35 to 45 minutes for me. It's going to be a little bit longer as I'm going to have the camera and taking you guys through it, but I'm excited to take you guys through it. And again, if you guys are mechanics or do this for a living, please put it in the comments if you have a better way of doing something. I'm always open to doing it differently or to different advice. Please, I am not perfect by any means. I do what's best for me, but if you guys have other ways of doing it, please let me know. Put it on the channel, leave the comment. All right, let's take a look. Got to move some stuff out of the way. We're going to get this old girl out. That's the engine coming off. We're going to pull her out of the shed now. Okay, there she is. So here she is. Seat's already off of it. Hood's already off of it. Battery sucks, so we're gonna use the jump box, get her fired up. It's colder than anything up here, up in Pennsylvania, where we're located. So almost middle end of May. It's still colder than anything. Unbelievable. Hopefully it'll start getting nicer. A lot of rain too, so but we want to get this thing out. I'm going to hook up the jump box here. What I want to do, so before I sell these engines or move these engines, I like to drain the oil, and by doing that, by heating them up, letting them run a little bit, it lets the oil flow a little bit easier. It's not cold, so it's hotter. It drains easier, and this way you get all the oil out of your engine before you take it out of the frame. So I'm going to run it for about 5 minutes, let it run, get the oil hot, then we drain the oil, and then we go from step by step from there, getting the fuel lines off and plugged up. We'll get the throttle cable, the choke cable off, we'll get the starter disconnected until we get underneath to get the main engine bolts off and also the PTO. So start taking you through it. We're going to fire her up. Hopefully it starts. Let's see what it does. I know it's got gas in it. Hasn't been running a little bit. 5 minutes there. So next steps we want to get our battery, the old battery disconnected here. And you can see I have to get more light over here. Our oil filter's here. I'm gonna leave the oil filter on, but our oil drain is right here. We're gonna drain our oil. We're gonna leave that on. We tell the person we're selling it to if they want put new oil in it and they want to change the filter, they can. So, so battery's got to come out right up here, and then oil has to get drained, and then we're going to pinch off these fuel lines next, and then we'll work on our throttle and choke cables, pulling those apart. And next after that, we'll start on the starter, getting the starter disconnected and move from there, and then we'll start disconnecting electrical until we get underneath to drop our PTO and then get our engine bolts out. Okay? All right. So, I know I put another video out the other day about oils. One of the oils I recommend for tractors like this, not your beautiful John Deere zero turn or whatever one, just tractors you might be flipping, maintaining, is just, I like using the Supertech 10W30. 10W30 is typically always the viscosity you're going to use when it comes to these tractors. So you'll see that. That break off so we can get to this easier. Let's see if we can get this. This is typically just a twist tab, and you just twist it and then it comes right out. Might need to get a pair of pliers. No, or we have it here. Let's see. There we go. Get that hose, that fuel line out of the way. We'll get that out of there. Okay. That's really in there. Might have to get some channel locks in this guy. Oh, there we go. Okay, so that's out. And that's draining. So drain our oil, let that do its thing. Again, I recommend for older tractors, just regular 1030 Supertech. That's what I would use. Now my John Deere zero turn, which I bought in 2018, I do an oil change on that every single year. I use the Mobil 1 10W30 synthetic for that. Once a year, I only put maybe about 20 hours a year on that thing. But I do the filter, I do the 10W30 Mobil 1 for that. Now my Harleys, I do all AMSOIL. I do the AMSOIL for my Harley Davidsons on those. So, but for my zero turn, I do the Mobil 1. Yeah, I hope everyone's doing well. And again, this is just a step-by-step process when it comes to taking these engines out. And once you get good at it, now the oil drain process, you got to let it do its thing. It takes some time. You can see how fast that oil came out of there. You know, once you heat it up and let it run for a little bit. And again, just leave the filter on it. You know, this way it doesn't spill and get everywhere. And then I'll just let whoever, if you're selling one or whatnot, just always remember to put a new filter on it, put fresh oil in it. These Kohler Command engines are really, really good. I'm going to do another video. Sorry, I know you guys are looking down here. I'm going to do another video on some of the best engines for tractor zero turns. At the top is the Kawasaki. That's what's on my John Deere. Kawasaki is the top of the line that you can get for your lawn tractor or your zero turn. Highly recommend the Cowies. Down from there would probably be a Kohler, like a Kohler Command, and then a Briggs. The Briggs and Stratton after that. Kohler Courage, stay away from. Stay away from the Kohler Courage. Those were a very, very bad engineer, and they're known to blow up and seize up and throw rings and engines go. So the Kohler Courages, try not to buy one of those or avoid it at all costs. Break this down, keep a nice work area here. We'll put that back in there once that's fully drained. Just down here. All right, we're gonna move on to our battery next. Got our battery terminals loosened up. Get that disconnected. try and SAE first. I think we're metric. Yeah, we'll try metric next. Yeah, give that oil some time to drain, fully drain out. There we go. It's metric. Yep. Well, that wasn't good. Are you kidding? Get that. Got it. Alright, loosen that up. This battery, I believe, is dead as well. Okay, that's negative terminals off. Get our positive next. Yeah, the last one we took out was that Briggs & Stratton 25 horse off the D170. And I know I couldn't really take you guys through individually on that one all the way, on that engine removal, but that went very smooth. Now that was okay, that might have been a little bit of our issue there with that battery. That was just hand tight. Isn't that nice? So maybe that was our problem with the battery, but it fired up on the jump box, so I don't know. All right, positive terminals off now. Always amazes me the parts people use in their tractors. All right, we just gotta wiggle this guy out. Right through there, and our battery's out, just like that. That will match the batteries. Get that old girl charged. See if we have a date on this. Let's see if I can show you guys a date. Let me get in the light first. I know I'm off camera. It's a 280. Cold cranking amps, or no wait, it says 235 CCA. But I don't have a year. So sometimes they give you a nice year on there, and now they haven't lately been doing it. Huh. See if it, yeah, 280 cold cranking amp battery. That's nice. That'll get the job done. Oh, there we go. March 2018. So our battery is just over 7 years old. So that's probably done. Most likely done. Check your dates on your batteries. Try and keep them fresh. I mean, you can keep them on trickle charger for a while, but for the most part, this one definitely needed to be replaced. All right, that was my wrench. Okay, battery's out, oil is drained. I go an extra step further, and I'll show you guys. I'm going to angle it a little bit and help the oil drain out. Sometimes a little bit more comes out, just angle it that way. If you don't have the strength for this, no worries, it's not going to hurt it. Just a little bit more that comes out. So this way we get most of it out. This is just me being neurotic, making sure we get most of it out. I don't want to see it spill if they're transporting it in their car or trunk or whatnot, so I try to get all the oil out. And with it being hot, after running it, it does help draining it. It's still going. Use my oil drain pan. That's going to be about it, I think. It's still going. That'll be good. Close enough for going to work. Actually, you know what we could do? turn that wheel, and then by doing that, get right underneath it, and then angle it. Push that a little bit. There we go. That's good. We're gonna put our cap, make sure to put your cap back on, your oil cap. Put that back on there so that's secured. We'll be good on that. So we got battery out. And next we're gonna move on to, I like to move on to starter. So we'll move on to starter next. All right, cap is in. There we go. Cap is in, and then twist to the left. And we're good. I'm gonna pull our wheel out. Doesn't look too bad. If you guys can get the light on that a little bit. I don't see anything crazy in there. The oil doesn't look horrible. So, looks like it had the amount it needs. These normally take about 2.5 to 3 quarts, these engines. So, leave that over here. All right. All right, we've moved over to the starter now. You can see I have it zoomed in. This is our positive terminal. And then we have a fuse right over here. And typically it goes over to our solenoid as well. I can't, the D170 I had on the Briggs was easily accessible to that solenoid. So that solenoid's somewhere in here. I'm gonna end up just disconnecting us right here and let the person then reconnect whatever they need with their starter. So this, as you can see, you got this little wire right here. Pull that, pretty simple. Pull that guy out, all right? And then this one, make sure before you do anything with the starter, by the way, make sure your battery is disconnected and out. Don't touch any of these wires when you have a hot battery in there. Make sure that battery is disconnected and out or just disconnected. And then we can work on getting, you'll see here, I'm gonna zoom. If you could see that, there's a bolt right there. We're gonna get that bolt out on that starter. So that's next. So this size on this starter is a 15 millimeter bolt. And we're gonna loosen that guy. There we go. See, that's coming down nice. 15 millimeter. I look like a 12 or a 13, but it's 15 on there. That'll come right off. Get that bolt out of the way. Okay. Drop that off, and we're gonna put our bolt right back on there. Don't misplace your stuff when you're starting to disassemble. Just put it right back where it was, if possible. Don't cross thread it, so just take your time with it. That's really, it's good. Normally, I have my ratcheting gun for these guys, but I lost my 10 millimeter. So we've got our, that's throttle cable on your right, choke cable on your left if you're looking at it forward. If you're sitting on it, choke cable will be on your right, throttle on your left. So you've got a 10 millimeter bolt. I'm gonna use my T-wrench. We're gonna loosen these guys up and get those cables removed. Right here too. Actually, that might be an 8. I think that's an 8. 8 out on that. So we've done oil. We have done, yep, that's an 8 right there. So that's a little bracket that holds that cable in, that throttle cable. Once you don't need to take it off all the way. You just need to get it up to a point that you can get the cable out. And see how that snaps out like that? I don't have you guys zoomed in, but that little bracket comes right out, and then that hook hooks in. So if we're going in, try and get you guys in on this. Really simple. So the 8 millimeter, so it'll hook in right here and then down that hole, and it goes right underneath here on that bracket. And then, yeah, it's an 8 millimeter. Real simple stuff. Get that off. So we've got that. I take these, stick them down in here. Really have no need for them after this. Same thing. And then, oh, make sure to tighten them again so they don't get, when the engine's being transported, they don't get loose or you don't lose these brackets, because you don't want to have to buy parts on, on Kohler's website or wherever else. So just retighten those down so you don't lose them, especially when swapping out engines. And then when you put it back on the tractor, you just loosen it back up again. So do that with both. Tighten that guy out too. There we go. So with this one. Slides right out. And then that little fish hook comes out of there. That's your choke cable. Choke cable's out. Okay. Just tuck those right away when you're done with them. And again, retighten them down so you don't lose any of your parts or your bracketry. Keep those tightened down so you don't lose anything. All right, so we've got choke is disconnected, throttle's disconnected. We have those retightened down. Oil's drained, oil cap's back on, oil filter stays on, battery's out. We've got the starter disconnected. Now we're getting ready to start moving on to electrical, disconnecting electrical and also the PTO. Those are our next couple things to start working on. We are moving our way through here. And to get you guys in on this. So here's some of our electrical connections right in here. So we're gonna start disconnecting and pulling some of these electrical connections apart and just get some of these other things out of our way. We want to get all of it out of our way before we start dropping PTOs. We might have to move some stuff around, but whatever we can get. Sometimes they have little ears here. You just have to get underneath with like a flathead or just prop them up and these pop right out. There you go, see? That's pried up, and then there's one on the other side right here. Trying to do everything with one hand here so you guys can see. All right, that one's pried up. So you can see there's two here pried, and it's, as you can see, it's starting to go. It's going. I apologize, trying to do it one-handed. I think it's coming. Don't want to snap those ears if I can avoid it. All right, let me put you down for a minute. Just pull that apart. There we go. Okay, there it is, pulled apart. Just had to use two hands. So that one's off. Get that off. We got other ones, other connections. Sorry for the shakiness. Other connections we're gonna make. We're gonna go little by little. That's one off there. We'll see what else we have. Try to tuck some of these things away. Once you get the bolts off the bottom of the engine and we get the PTO off, you'll see how it rocks and see what's still connected, and then you just, process of elimination. See, we have another one down in here. See that one right where my finger is? We're gonna have to get that out too, right there. So we'll give that a minute though. We're gonna try to take our PTO off next. So next step, we're jacking this thing up. I'm using just my little single jack here. I do have a bigger one, but we're gonna use this one for now. It's all I think, this is what I normally use when I do these guys. We just gotta get it a little bit off the ground for the PTO. A piece of wood under it levels it off a little bit. Got some height on that. I'll put some jack stands underneath just to be safe. I feel a little better now. Two jack stands, don't want to get hurt, right? Okay. That's secure. Okay. We're underneath the tractor now. There's our PTO. This is a 16 millimeter. I've got a 16 millimeter on there, and that seems to work. It's pretty tight on there. We want that, we're gonna get that PTO to drop down. I recommend an air gun for this. These guys are difficult, and let's hope it's not rusted on. So, steering, it does look a little rusty. Remember I said we had steering issues on this? That could be our problem, that steering gear right there. So, but we're gonna drop that PTO, and then engine bolts are next after that. So let's get this PTO dropped down. Okay, just to show you what we're dealing with, I got this propped up on the air gun temporarily, but here's our shaft. Okay, so that's how that shaft drops down out. From the engine, the PTO is now off. You can get good accessibility to your drive belt right in here. So if you're ever doing a drive belt, that PTO has to come down to do the drive belt, okay? But yeah, you can see that's your engine shaft right there. So, whoops, when you're, that fell down a little bit there. When you're replacing engines, it's key to make sure that you guys get the diameter of that shaft, which is the diameter, and also the length up to the engine. The length in inches, normally right around 3 inches. A diameter can be 1 inch, or it can be 1 inch and an eighth. So that is crucial. So just make sure you guys get that. You kind of see him zoom in on that a little bit. And there's a keyway there. Those have keyways in there too. So just a little education for you guys on that. So that's dropped out nicely. We're gonna work on our engine bolts next. Okay, until you can get your wiring out for that PTO, just use a box or prop it up. Don't let it rest on the weight of your wires, okay? Because these PTOs are worth money, and this PTO has no issues. So don't ruin your PTO. Rest it on a box, and then once the engine eventually comes out, we'll disconnect the wiring and get that out completely once we're done with that, okay? Just a helpful tip. Taking a walk down to get the garbage here. Rain has not stopped up here. It's horrible. So, yeah, a little bit of a break, and I got a something going on this evening, so I got to put a brake in my engine removal. So we'll have to come back to it later tonight. So that's okay though. We'll be back. Garbage time. All right, I'm back. I had to do an airport run, all on the same day here. So a couple hours out of the day, had to do an airport run. And now we're getting into the wee hours of the night. It's getting late, well, real late, but I need this engine out before the next day. I got a couple sales, so I want to definitely get this thing out ahead of time. So when we have this, when it hits like this, I'll keep going until it's done. Let's get back into it. We were we did the PTO. I showed you guys that. And now we're gonna work on engine bolts and making sure we get the rest of the electrical off. All right, I'll take you into it. So before I get into those engine bolts, I want to get the exhaust cover off. 8 millimeter. I'm just using my T-wrenches on these. So 8 millimeter, guys, to get this exhaust, the metal exhaust, I guess you could say cover. It just protects the hood and stuff from the heat. So our exhaust pipe should be underneath that. Get that off. So, all right. Yeah, the airport run was about 3 hours. There and back and a couple other things. So it wasn't too bad. But back into the engine. And again, this one's taking a little longer because I'm filming it. But if I didn't film, this thing could... Oh, you know what we didn't do yet? I didn't take fuel lines off. I got to get fuel lines off. That I have forgotten. So we got to get that going. Let's see where we're at. Got those bolts off. 2 bolts in the front, guys. Let's look here. Where's our other bolts? Underneath. I think it's these side guys right here. Side mounts. Yep, that's got to be it. Those look like 12s. Take those off. try and power through this thing. And then I put my, oh, there's my manometer. Okay. Zoom out for you guys so you can see everything. You can see me there. All right. So you can see we got a bolt right here on this side, same thing over here. So I'm going to start over on this side first. I think it's a 12. Let you know. That's a 12 right there. No, it's not. Maybe a 10 or 11. It's 10. I'll probably get the gun on this one, but should just get the gun on it. Coming off pretty easy, actually. And again, if you guys are taking engines out, replacing them, you're doing the inverse steps when you're putting one back in. Just the key things, you got to make sure your shafts are going to line up. Your engine shafts coming out down to your pulley. Those are going to be your key things. You want to make sure those are going to work with whatever engine you're putting onto your zero turn or tractor. Most of these are interchangeable. I've seen guys take these engines and put them right on zero turns. There's that one. That's the one side one there. That's starting to move now. Let's get on this side. We didn't do our fuel lines yet. We got to do that. We're going to snip those off. Home Depot, Hobo Freight make, I think I showed you in a couple of my previous videos when I did the D170, they make pliers to snap off. They're plastic pliers, and you can cut off supply for your fuel lines. They're really nice to have, and that's what I'll typically use for that. We're going to have to get something to drain the fuel, though. I don't have to find something here for that. Actually, I might just keep the fuel line pointed up on that one in this case, so I don't have to worry about it. And I'll drain it off later once the engine's out. Okay. And you can see pretty good size, like I wouldn't call that a washer, almost like not a grommet, but a bigger spacer with a different shape on there. And that should all pull. And we got something else holding it. Oh, there we go. That one's coming now. The top is coming. There we go. That's off. So that exhaust 1 and 2 should pull right out of that exhaust pipe down there, or muffler. So these 2 pipes should pull right out of the muffler. So we have access to that. So when we start pulling the engine out, we should be able to pull those pipes directly out. Okay. So we'll get that out. Should be able to start getting underneath. Let me get our fuel line pinched off and do that as well. Actually, we'll do that later. Let's get the engine bolts out now. Okay, I'm gonna get everyone in here. So we're doing bolts. You can see there's a bolt right there. See that? That's an engine bolt right there. I gotta check what size that is. Come over to your other side, same thing. There's gonna be another one over on that side. Let me look at that one. Right there. Okay, and then and towards the back as well, you can see one right there, engine bolt, and then one back over in here, might be covered up a little bit. So four engine bolts we're gonna take out. You can see that one right there. I'll get you guys the size on that, but you can see it's the copper color, so you know it's metric just from that. So, and then we'll start getting those guys off. There's the other one right there. So they look to be about maybe 16 millimeter, somewhere in that area. We'll take a look. All right, I just checked it. It's 15 millimeters, so we're gonna get the gun on it and start taking these down, okay? I'll try to get you guys in here on the camera for it as well. I hope you can see everything the way I have it angled, but let's get the gun on these guys. All right. Okay, here's one. One right there. That's out. Yeah, this is coming out nice. Some of the brigs are hidden in there pretty hard. The other one. We got a, looks like we got a plate coming down too, guys. Watch that. Oops. Okay, that plate. So that plate's coming out too, it looks like. So just keep that in mind and how it's positioned if you're doing it. All right, bolt. There's our other bolt right there. Okay, here's number 3, guys, right here. 3 is out. Try to wear safety glasses when you're working on it. It does help. And let's get our 4th. Guys, there's always only going to be 4 bolts typically on these tractors. You're never going to see more than 4 that I've ever seen. So Kohlers, Briggs. So we just got our 4th off there. So all of our bolts are off, our PTO's off. I'm also going to make sure that belt comes off, that drive belt, because that's going to get hung up in there. I'll move that engine forward a little bit. I don't know if you can see that right here, this drive belt. So we're going to want to get that off there too. So that'll make it a little bit easier because it'll get hung up on that. If I can pull that ahead there. Engine shift. See how that engine moves now nicely? Let's see if I can get that slipped around there. I might have to position that engine a little bit the one direction to make it easier. So we'll do that in a minute. So, oops. So as everyone can see, we got all our bolts out. We're good. We just got to get our drive belt out. I'm going to move the engine that way a little bit. I'm going to get out, stand on top of it, and just move it a little bit, and it'll take some of the tension off that drive belt, okay? We'll do that. So most of our work is done underneath. I'm going to drop the jack down a little bit. Actually, let me see if I can move this forward a little bit. See if that engine will move a little bit forward. That might be tough, but let's see if that'll slide. A little bit. Oh, that might have been enough. So we'll drop our jack down here. And I think we could probably take that down here at this point once that belt's off. And pretty much it's ready to come out. We just probably have a couple little connections that we have to look at, and we're ready to come out. So let me drop it down. Get our jacks out from underneath here. Wow, sit right on there. That's good. Good. PTO looks good. Maybe pull that out. Oh, you know what? Can I pull my mat out? I'm sitting on that. Oh, that's not good. Let's jack that back up. I don't like that. those parts. Okay, and then we can drop it down. Yeah. Try that again. A little better. Okay. So, let's see how this engine moves for us, guys. Oh, I think we got to do the fuel line. Let's get that snipped off. Let's get our fuel line snipped off. Pair of pliers on that. So these are the gasoline, your fuel line snips that you can use. All they do is you just hold these together, and then you can set the, you can hold them in place with that little clip. Like so, right down on it. And there we go. We've got it snipped off really nice. Got some good pressure on it. Should be good. And let's get that guy off. Should have a regular pair of pliers, but I couldn't find one. Pair of vice grips will work. As much as she goes. That's great. These broke. What else do I have? The old channel locks out. This should be done with a regular pair of pliers, guys. Not what I'm using here. But it'll get the job done. There we go. Now, be careful if these are brittle with your fuel line. Just be careful pulling them off. I'm going to have a little bit of gas. Out there. Whew. Man. All right, there we go. That one's off. Just hold them up high. Get them out of our way. Right there's fine. That'll work. Good. Good where it's at. Not bothering anyone up in there. It's disconnected from the engine. Good. We'll get that off later. We'll drain. Okay, fuel line is disconnected now. A couple electrical connections, and I think we're good, guys. I'll show you a couple more I'm seeing in here. Okay, we've got a connection right in here. We're going to want to take off. Okay, so we got this guy back here. See if we can get in there. Okay, see that one's off. So we got that disconnected now. So one of our other one. We'll check the other side again. Go over here. See where we're at. As we start pulling, I'm sure we're gonna find more stuff connected and we'll go from there. We're gonna need this guy out too down here. So we gotta get that one disconnected too. So we'll get that next. So I'm gonna start tickling this thing a little bit, moving it around. See if we can get it to move because we still have to get the drive belt off. And I wanna see exactly where the other connections are. So we're gonna just see where it goes. Start moving it around a little bit in there. See what's left. Okay, actually, yeah, that. So we got that. Where are we hooked into? Maybe this is a drive belt at this point. Let's just get that belt off, guys. Get that off, and I think the engine's coming out. Underneath here. See if you can loosen up some of your pulleys too. Wondering if that brake, see if we hit that brake, if that loosens those pulleys a little bit. Yeah, there we go. So, hit your brake. That'll loosen your belt. So our belt's off now, guys. Just hit your brake, and that comes right off. Let's see where we're at now. Okay. See if I'm getting hung up on anything. Ah, stuff over here now. Okay, the wiring over here is getting hung up in, so we're going to figure out what needs to be cut over here. And I'll get you in on that. Okay, there's a wire. Well, this is our spark plug wire right here, but there's a wire that goes, electrical connection wire that goes into the engine here. That's what we're still pulling on, so we got to get this through here. So it looks like we just got to make some cuts. I think there's just regular zip ties down here, so we're going to make some cuts and pull that through, and that'll release that one, and we'll see where we're at. Once again, not the right tool for the job, but it gets it done. You see what I'm using here. There we go. All I had to do was cut a zip tie. There we go. So that's freed up now, guys. Okay, so let's see where that leaves us with our connections. Let's try pulling it again. Okay. This way. Is that catching on something? What are we kind of catching? Another wire? That's out. Something up front here? Oh, the exhaust. Let's get that exhaust out. See? Can everyone see okay? I'm going to back this up a little bit. Pop that exhaust right out just like that. I think we're free and clear. We're going to get the engine out. Let me zoom out so you guys can see everything. There we go. We're going to pull it out. I'm going to put it right down over here on the right side. We should be free and clear, guys. There she is. All right. We're out. Take a look at her. There she is. Not bad. That's all there is to it. We're going to get our PTO disconnected through, pull that through. We got to drain our gas tank. But Step by step, guys. That's all it was. Okay. That Kohler command is out and ready to go on to another unit. And you can see how those exhaust pipes slip right into these holes right here. They're not anchored in or bolted in at all. They just pull right out. You just got to slip them out, okay? All of our electrical connections are disconnected. We got to just figure out our PTO. So we'll get that, but everything that we did, our engine is out. I hope that helped you guys. I'm going to do a couple other seconds here or minutes just to discuss a couple more things, and then we'll put an end to this video. Okay, so all we had to do with the PTO, we dropped this little guy, plugs into another piece down here. As you can see, it's I already have it dropped out. You can kind of see it sticks up through there, that little pin right there. See if I can get that out of your way there. So this guy right here, see that? That's right there. And then this guy goes through there, okay? But there's still more wiring. We can take that off. There's still more wiring for the PTO. It goes towards the back of the tractor, so I'm gonna probably just end up snipping it somewhere or see if it disconnects. So we're gonna look underneath the tractor, see if I can disconnect it. I'll get everyone in on this. So the PTO wiring starts at the front here, and it runs all the way along this frame. Here it is right here. See it up in there? Sits in that channel right there. You can kind of see that, right? See that right there. We could disconnect at the transmission, but then it does run up to the seat, up north of the seat as well. So, but we have a portion here we can disconnect here, but I'm gonna probably just end up cutting it closer off because we don't really need it. But that pulls off at the transmission, that little guy right there. So, and then if we could pull the seat switch down through, that'll eventually pull it through, and that whole wiring setup will run up to your PTO, and then we'll have free and clear at that point. So, okay, PTO's off. This disconnects like we talked about as well. If you have the patience and want to get the seat switch at the seat and run it all the way through the frame, go for it, but I didn't have the patience. So hopefully someone has that replacement and they just plug and play. Next thing is I want to get diameter and length of that engine to figure out what size for this PTO. So, but PTO is out. Okay, guys. So this guy, our pulley was still on there, so make sure that comes off. Now we're left with our shaft. All right, just our drive shaft. So I'm going to get measurements on this. I want to check diameter and I want to check a length and see where we're at. I have a measuring device here that I use. It's digital, but the battery's dead, so we got to work on that and get that replaced. So well, let's see where we're at on this guy. So this right here. Okay, that's right there. If you guys can see that. Looks to be 1 inch. Sorry for the blurriness. Looks to be about 1 inch right there. I'll double check, but we should be at 1 inch on that for the diameter. Just double checking again, guys. Yeah, that's spot on 1 inch. All right. And we use this guy right here, if you can see that, to measure our length. So when we're looking at this, you guys can see this. Oops, sorry. Put it up against there. We're gonna get our length. Sorry for the shakiness. I gotta get what's it called? There we go. Start out higher, and we're gonna come in right until it hits the top of that shaft right there. Okay. And then we just see where we're at. Count them out. You got 1, 2, 3. So we are over 3 inches. So that's what, 3 1/8 maybe? 3 3/8, somewhere in that area. I think we're 3 1/8, or it could be 3 5/16. Let me double check here. Or not 5/16. Let's see where it's at. So all else fails, get the tape measure. I'm going 3 3/16, guys, on this guy, on that length. 3 3/16 for that shaft length and 1 inch diameter. Okay. Okay, we are all done. Got our area all cleaned up here. Tractor is sitting outside, no motor in it. Here's our motor, guys. We got our shaft size measured up so we know where that's at. I've got our extra parts here for our guy coming tomorrow. The engine's out. Couldn't be happier. That was a pretty easy experience. We just got to make sure we remind them there's no oil in that. We need to make sure they put oil in it before they get that thing running. So that's a big deal. All in all, very, very simple. You guys have, if you have the right tools, you can do this in probably less than an hour, hour and a half. If you follow those simple steps going through the motions there that I took you guys through. So I hope this helped. And this is, I've taken a lot of engines out of mowers, so I'm trying to pass that knowledge off to you guys if you're ever in the event where you have to take one of these engines off out of your, excuse the dust all over me and whatnot. If you ever have to get one of these engines out of your tractors, it's, I hope this will help you guys in the future. So thank you so much for all the support on the channel. I really, really appreciate it. We are 6 subscribers away from 600. So we're almost at 600. We are really starting to motor up there. So getting super pumped about the channel, and I hope you guys are too. Hopefully you guys are really liking what you see. I'm going to keep bringing stuff pretty much on a daily basis or every other day for the most part, different videos. So just stay tuned. We're going to have a lot of other cool videos coming in here in the future. So keep watching. If you get a chance, hit the subscribe and then the notification bell. And we'll see you on the next one. Take care. Have a good one.